final coach to bring on the line. That will be Coach Darrell Asberry from Texas Southern University. Coach Asberry, you with us?
Yes, I am.
How you doing this morning?
Good. How are you all?
I'm doing just fine. Just like I told Coach Northern, you guys had one that coaches hate but fans love on Saturday. Close win for you, 44-41. Your reflections on that game, and looking forward down the schedule for your game against North Texas this weekend.
Well, on Saturday, I'd like to give the credit to those kids and the coaching staff. They did a great job of preparing these young men, and like I told the kids in the locker room at halftime, in order for us to win this game, we have to eliminate these turnovers, stop the big plays by Prairie View. We need to do a much better job of containing the quarterback. Once we were able to get that under control, I thought the kids, they were resilient. They rallied together as a unit. All three phases of the game was working well for us, and we just tried to do things that the kids can do, and it worked out for us.
Coach, looking forward on the schedule to your next game coming up. You're going to North Texas this weekend. Talk about that game.
Well, North Texas is a real good program, has a real good program, and like I told the staff this morning in meeting, that we're going to go in and with every bit of our power to come back with a victory and continue to do well. We want our kids to play well. You always want to play well and coach well versus out-of-conference teams. You want to be able to make the adjustments and make sure that we're fundamentally sound. I think the fundamentals are going to be big for us this week, as well as every week. But we just need to make sure that we just maintain our discipline. The beauty about this football team is we don't have any superstars. We have a bunch of role players, and every young man, accepts their role and understands their role. And I think we continue to eliminate some of the mistakes that we made against Prairie View, we should be okay.
Questions for Coach Asberry? Coach, I have one quick one. Just looking at the statistics from the ball game, a very balanced offensive attack. 257 yards rushing, 287 passing, a total of 544 yards for your offense, but you have to be concerned with the 500 that the defense gave up.
Yeah, we were concerned. I came back in yesterday and broke down the defensive film, and it was just a lot of misassignments. A lot of times we were outflanked because the kids didn't get lined up right. And like I told my linebackers, you guys have to make sure that front end is lined up right. My free safeties have to make sure the back end is lined up correctly. We came in, and like I told the staff also, we need to make sure that we put the kids in the best position to make the plays. So, there were some things that on both sides of the football, offense and defensively, as coaches, we could have done a better job doing. So we'll make those corrections. It was the first game. We know what our kids can do now, and we'll be much more prepared for this week.
Coach Ken Rashad, TSPN Sports. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you?
Good. Talk about your opponent next week in North Texas. Obviously, you'll be playing up against a FBS team. What do you know about them at this point?
Well, I really don't know a whole lot about them. I know they played LSU this past weekend, and the head coach came from University of Iowa. I think that's Iowa, but we're gonna take this approach, like a regular football game. We're gonna break down the film, find their weaknesses and strengths, and see can we match up with them. And if we can, if not, we're gonna find out if we can come out of there with a victory. So we're gonna take this opponent head on. We're not gonna try to dodge them and go around them. We're going to take them head on.
More questions for Coach Asberry.
Head coach, Larry the Chatterbox here, the voice of the TSU Tigers. Coach, how do you feel talk about the performance of both of your quarterbacks, Rico Smalls and Dontavius Parker.
Well, I'm very pleased with those two young men, and they bring so much to the table with this football team. And I told them in the locker room after the game, I said, you guys complement each other well. I said, the key is you don't let anybody come in between you guys, saying that you should be the starter or you should be the starter. If those two young men continue to keep their composure and make good decisions, this football team and this offensive unit will be very successful this year.
Also, Coach, talk about the running back Loving and Fred Plummer as well, some of the newcomers that made a big impact in that football game on Saturday night.
Well, Fred was a Division I kid that we were fortunate to get from Coahoma Community College. He did just what we thought he could do, but the best of Fred Plummer is yet to come. He has so much potential at that position, and he understands the offense. He played in the same offense at Coahoma because his receiver coach was my wide receiver at Jackson State. So, he understands the offense a little bit better than a lot of the other guys. And Loving, we got Loving cleared late, so his conditioning is not where it needs to be right now. But once we get him conditioned, get him going, get his legs up underneath him, I think he has a whole lot more to give this program as well.
Also, Coach, the play of the offensive line, I'm sure you got to be pleased with that. Quarterback was rarely touched in that football game. We talked about that in the spring, that you wanted to upgrade the offensive line. Talk about their play.
Well, I take my hat off to Coach Roberts. He coached me at Jackson State, and I brought him on, and we worked together. And Coach has done a great job. One thing about the offensive line, I know with his teaching, they're going to have the right fundamentals and all the extras to come with it. Those guys played extremely well, but again, I'm not pleased. I'm happy, but I'm not pleased. And I'm not satisfied, should I say. We as a football team have so much more to give the fans and the conference. We just need to fine tune this thing. So we Coach, I'm just not happy with the whole picture yet.
Okay, Coach. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions for Coach Darrell Asberry? Coach, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
We wish you luck in your game coming up this weekend against North Texas, and we'll talk to you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.